Attention. Welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. We dive into the wild world of mental health discussions. Get ready for profound talks, a sprinkle of humor and sarcasm, and a touch of colorful language. Just a quick heads up, our show reflects our individual opinions, which may not align with the standpoint of the podcast, our featured guests, or any related corporate entities. Our mission? To illuminate through laughter and satire because everyone needs a good chuckle. Chill out and don't stress over the small stuff. Legal troubles? No, thank you. Cancel culture? Please spare us. We'd rather keep this space lawsuit free. So buckle up, have a good time, and join us as we navigate the vibrant realm of mental health on the Different Spectrums podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. By using our link, you can get 10% off your first month of therapy. So, Naz, as a therapist on BetterHelp, what has your experience been like?
I've been doing it since January 2021, and it's been really fun and exciting. I've been able to reach clients all over the United States and the world. I've had good relationships. I've had folks that I've had for a couple months and a good handful where I've had for almost 2 years now. So it's magnificent. I've enjoyed my time and my clients. I love them.
Awesome. You can do it all from your phone or computer via phone call, video chat, or messaging, however you feel the most comfortable. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/DSP or choose Different Spectrums podcast during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month. Hey everybody, we back again.
We back. We're live.
I'm Spencer. Of course, we have our licensed clinical therapist, Naz.
Hey, Dr. Nas.
That'll never stick.
Yes.
Remember, don't take us too seriously.
Or do. It's completely up to you.
Also, don't forget to rock those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. So, today we have a special guest for the show. She is a therapist, a self-proclaimed weirdo, big feeler, and nerd, and also the founder of Baldwin Psychotherapy. Please welcome Kaitlin Baldwin to the show. Welcome.
Oh, hello. Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Awesome. Can't wait to talk to you. And speaking of that, we're going to be doing the movie Accepted, an '06 flick back in the day where you could say anything, which is odd because it's only like a couple years ago, not that long ago. But great film. We're going to be talking a little bit of everything. All right. We're going to be talking about just being different, trying to fit in or not trying to fit in. And then also just autism. Let's just be honest. It's autism in there. Yeah. Big surprise.
Big surprise, you know.
Let's talk about autism on your back. But yeah, so it's going to be fun. Great time. Naz, anything before we get into the show?
I'm actually kind of surprised or excited about what the hell's going to happen because I don't know what Caitlin's fully going to talk about. And then, you know, and there were some very sexual scenes in there too. So obviously I'm going to make some jokes about that. So there's some, you know, there's some funny stuff in there.
None that I pulled up.
You know, hey, you know, I've been to shit university too, you know. It's right over there. So we're going to have some fun today in this podcast, I would assume. And also we're going to get baptized metaphorically by Caitlin's intelligence. Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
exciting.
therapized, you know. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's have some fun. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Sorry, didn't know.
There. There.
I'm in it now. I'm sorry. It's the concussion.
No, you did it. You know,
you did it.
you got your cookout pass now.
Yeah. All right. I'm ready.
You can say the N-word.
Oh my God.
Perfect. I've been waiting this whole time.
Oh, I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. Jesus. Well, let's get to the show.
Good question, because you guys have already made up your minds. I'm an expert in rejection, and I can see it on your faces. And it's too bad that you judge us by the way we look. and not by who we are. Just because you want us to be more like them. When the truth is, we're not like them, and I am damn proud of that fact. Harmon College and their 100 years of tradition. But tradition of what? Of hazing kids and humiliating anyone who's a little bit different? Of putting so much pressure on kids they turn into these stress freaks and caffeine
Your
addicts.
phony school demeans real colleges everywhere.
Why? Why can't we both exist? Huh? You can have your grades and your rules and your structure and your ivory towers, and then we'll do things our way. Why do we have to conform to what you want?
Your curriculum is a joke, and you, sir, are a criminal.
You know what? You're a criminal, because you rob these kids of their creativity and their passion. That's the real crime. What about you, parents? Did the system really work out for you? Did it teach you to follow your heart or to just play it safe, roll over? What about you guys? Did you always want to be school administrators? Dr. Alexander, was that your dream? Or maybe no, maybe you wanted to be a poet. Maybe you want to be a magician or an artist. Maybe you just wanted to travel the world. Look, I lied to you. I lied to all of you, and I'm sorry, Dad, especially to you. But out of that desperation, something happened that was so amazing. It was full of possibilities, and isn't that what you ultimately want for us as parents? I mean, is possibilities. Well, we came here today to ask for your approval, and something just occurred to me. I don't give a shit. Who cares about your approval? We don't need your approval to tell us that what we did was real. Because there are so few truths in this world that when you see one, you know it. And I know that it is a truth that real learning took place at South Harmon. Whether you like it or not, it did. Because you don't need teachers or classrooms or fancy highbrow traditions or money to really learn. You just need people with a desire to better themselves. And we got that by the shitload at South Harmon. So you can go ahead, sign your forms, reject us and shoot us down and do whatever you gotta do. It doesn't really matter at this point because we'll never stop learning and we'll never stop growing and we'll never forget the ideals that were instilled in us at our place because we are shitheads now and we'll be shitheads forever and nothing you can say or do or stamp can take that away from us, so grow!
Do you know on the website how it said acceptance is just one click away? Do you remember that? We had intended, hold on, we added that because we were, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, what do you want?
When I got accepted here, it was the first time my parents ever said they were proud of me.
That's cool. That's cool, man. Hey, just show of hands, how many people applied to other colleges? Everybody. Okay. And how many of you got in to the other places you applied to? Nobody. Nobody got in anywhere else. Hey, you know what? I didn't either. I didn't get into a real college, a really, really good college. I know what it's like to be rejected. It sucks. Rejection blows, being said no to. You know what? I'm sorry, you're just not quite good enough. You didn't have extracurriculars, you didn't play enough tennis, you didn't study hard enough for your scores, so you're not gonna make it. You know what? Screw that.
What is he doing?
I
think he's winging it.
Shouldn't we all have the chance to be said yes to? At South Harmon, we say yes to you. We say yes to your hopes. We say yes to your dreams. We say yes to your flaws. So welcome. Grab a room, grab a friend, grab yourself. We don't give a shit. Welcome to South Harmon Institute of Technology. And welcome to shit.
Young men and women expand the way that they look at their world. When they open their minds to new ideas and experiences, and when they begin that long journey from the innocence of youth to the responsibilities of adulthood. Now, isn't that a load of horse shit?
What?
you explain that to us a little more?
Dean Lewis, why don't you tell them a little bit about the philosophy here at South Harmon?
Look, we throw a lot of fancy words in front of these kids in order to attract them to going to school in the belief that they're going to have a better life. And we all know that all we're doing is breeding a whole new generation of buyers and sellers, pimps and whores, and indoctrinating them into a lifelong hell of debt and indecision.
I just don't understand.
Do I have to spoon feed it to you? Look, there's only one reason that kids want to go to school.
Holy shit.
Which is?
To get a good job. To get a good job with a great starting salary.
I couldn't agree more.
It is so refreshing to have somebody approach education so rationally.
Fucking A.
Hey, Pledge guy, welcome to BKE House. Can I take your blazer for you? Get in there, your future is right in there. Thank you. All right.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Shit,
I'm so sorry. Bartleby, hey, how are you?
How you doing?
Good. I'm so sorry about your jacket.
Don't worry about it. It's not even my jacket.
Perfect. So what are you doing here?
I'm looking for Schrader, actually. Have you seen him?
No, I haven't.
Hey, I'm Sherman Schrader. Catch up with you. Hey, I'm Sherman Schrader. Okay? It's fun. I'm just gonna hang back while you guys shoot around and stuff, you know? Oh, shit! I got it. Oh, it's a G chord. I used to play in a Cranberries tribute band. We disbanded.
Hey, you're Sherman Schrader.
Yeah.
Hoyt Ambrose.
Yes, right. I know. Yes, you are the president of this whole fraternity.
That's right.
Right. You date Monica Moreland.
That I do.
Right. I think about her when I'm mastering.
What?
What? Dude, I didn't even mean to say that.
Yeah. So Sherman's father pledged alongside my father back in the day.
Oh, so you're the legacy.
That's right, legacy. You probably need this. Was it here? Was it there? Was it?
So do you go to school here now, or?
I don't. I go to South Harmon.
Did you say South Harmon?
Yes, I did.
Oh, what's that? What's South Harmon?
South Harmon it's a college, just a very small college.
Never heard of it.
Tiny college.
That's great. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, sweetie.
Hey. Oh my gosh, I was so excited for
Actually,
you.
can you just give me just 1 sec, okay? Thanks. Hey, winner. Hoyt Ambrose.
Floyd Pambrose. That's weird. Our names rhyme.
Yeah, that is pretty weird. It's kind of crazy. Welcome to BKE.
Thanks. It's great. I love it here. All the sexual repressed energy.
Oh.
I love it. A lot of anti-Semitism, but under the rug, you know? I like it. I like the way you handle your business.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Well, hey, why don't you just hang around and meet some guys?
Oh, no, thanks, man. I'm not into guys. I totally respect your lifestyle choice, though. And good luck with it. Parents probably don't get it, but I do. I'll see you later, Monica.
Bye. It was good seeing you.
I'll see you later, Thor. Dirk. Trent.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching our show today. We just wanted to take some time to give a special shout out to our collaborator, Cat and Raven Design. They are a small queer-owned business that specializes in LGBTQ plus pride soaps. They have great designs, some that even look good to eat, but don't. You can get 10% off your entire order if you use the code DSP or go to our link tree. Help support this great small business and help give back to a great community. Actually, I hope you didn't pay $5 for that.
It was like 10.
We back again. We back again.
We back. You know, we're live. just as live as I feel right now. I feel really good today, and feeling really good. And anyone feels really, really good. And this isn't even a joke. I thought I had a mass growing, and I went to the doctor, and he's like, "Well, this isn't cancer," and I was like, "Oh Lord, oh Lord."
Good.
He's like, "We're gonna have to cut this some bitch out, though." I'm like, "Oh no, oh no." It's like this big.
Jesus.
Yeah. I guess it's a normal thing. It's called a lipoma. So I just want to take a few seconds to talk about it for folks. It's these masses, little fatty masses that grow in a lot of people's bodies. Some of it's because of like trauma to the area. So like a skin contact or trauma or a hit. So people fall, something happens. Mine was from weightlifting and having that bar of 300-400 pounds on my back, and it caused this mass to build, and then it started hurting, and I didn't know it was from that. And then my father's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "I don't know, but it's angry." So I went to the doctor. He's like, "Hey man, I gotta refer you out. I think I know what this is, but I can't tell you what it is and what it isn't. I'm gonna send you to the dermatologist to look at it, and then I'm gonna send you to a surgeon." And they're like, "You're good. Don't worry about it. We're gonna cut it out. Everything's Gucci." And I was like,
Nice.
There we go. Because I've been feeling tired and shit lately, and this and that. I'm like, I'm fucking dying. I'm fucking dying. It's over.
Yeah, that explains the conversation we had on the last pod.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, man. On the last pod, I was like, bro, I could die any day, bro.
You're like, this pod will stop when one of us gets sick. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I had to go see a doctor for a cancer screening.
Oh my God. Thanks for telling me about that, by the way. Until now, jackass.
When if you say shit, it's true. It's out in the world, I never recommend anyone talk about their feelings,
Yeah. Mr. Talk about what's going on in your life. Doesn't say
Keep that shit
to
in.
one of his best friends.
Keep it in.
Doesn't say it. No, yeah.
Suck
Just
it up.
lightly sprinkle it in the conversation. We probably stop the podcast if one of us gets sick. You're like, what the fuck? What's this dude talking about?
Everything's good.
Great.
Everything's good.
Pod's gonna keep on going, folks.
Pod's gonna keep going. But PSA, everyone get your fucking checkups. All right. I saw this really scary thing the other day. It said that folks that think that they have cancer, they on average wait 3 months to go see the doctor. After they're like, okay, something's going on. 3 months. I know for my mother, she passed away from brain cancer. She waited months and months and months, and then it was too late. She was gone. 30 days, she was gone. So just a heads up, especially you men out there, men of color. I know you're not going to the doctor. If you know any folks of color, men of color, just men in general, push them to go to the doctor, get your checkup, blood pressure, right, your sugar, just get it checked out. Prostate, whatever it is, get it checked out. All right, I'm done doing my little thing. Just thought I should say that to help out some men or anyone. So let's get into the fucking pod.
Let's do it. All right. Well, like I said in the beginning, we have a guest today. Kaitlin Baldwin. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Good to have you. Let's start off. What's your therapist journey? How'd you get to this point in your life?
Oh, I love this story. I was a kid with a lot of family issues. There's a lot of chaos and conflict in my family growing up. So when I was really young, like 8, 9, 10, I had to go to therapy for court-mandated reasons. And I had a really horrible experience. The person that I saw was just didn't listen to me, didn't really try to understand my perspective as a kid. Very much felt like she was trying to do or get me to do the things that my parents or the courts wanted to happen for kind of custody to go well. So I was just really determined at that point to be like, no one should ever have to feel like that in this space. And it was kind of at the age of 10 where I was like, I'm going to be better at this than you. And yeah, I proceeded from there. I always really enjoyed helping people. I always felt like a really big feeler and had a lot of really deep emotions and was like, I can't be the only one having these things. There's got to be other people out there. And I want to make sure that they feel like they have a safe space to land. And never really wavered from that. Just felt like straight track to being the therapy lady.
Therapy lady.
Therapy lady.
That's my official name, actually.
Hey, therapy lady, what it do? Real quick, what is your professional license?
I'm a registered psychotherapist.
And what was your master's in?
My master's was in counseling psychology.
There you go.
So I did my bachelor's in psychology, neuroscience, behavior, and then my master's in counseling psychology.
There you go. Cool. Look at that. Right. Just figured I'd ask. In Canada, what's the licensure? What's your initials in Canada? Are they the same as ours? I don't know.
No, it's RP, so it's registered psychotherapist. There's also social workers, which are RSWs, and then others. But yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you say on like your profile and stuff like that, you're like a weirdo and all that. Do you?
Yeah, I have it tattooed on my arm.
Oh.
I think it. Yeah.
Hold it to your body. There it is.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, right there. On my little bird.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you tattoo it on, that means it's like
it's
official.
Fully official. No one can take it away from me. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I felt really weird when I was growing up. Like I was very outcasted and tried to be popular and fit in and very much could not, like no matter how desperately hard I tried. And I think it was just like there was a switch point when I, probably when I turned like 21, 22, it was like, this is fucking awesome. Like I love being weird. I love that people don't really get me and that I'll do stuff that people will look at, they'll think is strange, but like it's fun to me and I just want to keep doing it. So yeah, it's kind of a big point of pride for me.
So then do you also use that in your therapy whenever you're seeing anybody and stuff like that?
Use my tattoo?
No.
I'm gonna rub it on you, girl.
Look at this. Be like this.
Do you ever use your weirdness? Your je ne sais quoi,
Yeah, I think so.
Or do you keep it like a professional aspect to it more?
I could see you wearing a bow tie, real professional pantsuit, full Hillary Clinton.
Absolutely. That's really my vibe. No,
like Black Israelite?
No,
who you think is Chelsea Clinton? Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, I do and I don't. Like you have to feel the vibe out. There's some clients, like a client that I saw today, is someone who is very, very reserved. And so I'll bring up more of my weirdness with her because when she laughs, like we have a much better rapport and we can move forward quickly. So I'll be goofy and I'll do my little like isms. Like my partner and I just like sing random little snippets of songs constantly. And I'll bring that in sometimes because I'm like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. So long as it's helping the process and not hurting it. And there's some clients where they might feel like too thrown off by it that I don't bring it in very much.
Okay.
Yep. Got to feel it out. Question for me is when it comes to the aesthetics, I always like to ask folks that have arm sleeves, you showing the guns, you showing the sleeves, or you wearing full turtleneck like The Rock,
No, I did in my previous workplace. So I worked in community mental health for 2.5 years, and they had a dress code there that was like dress clothes, which was stupid because we were working with a lot of like street-based folks or houseless folks or whatever. And I was like, we're creating a class divide here that doesn't make any sense. But so when I like started my own practice in 2020, I knew that I wanted to dress the way that I dress. So I started probably smaller with like, I mean, I would show my tattoos and that's not a big deal, but then I started bringing in like hats and hoodies and, whatever else that I usually wear. And over time, I just, my client base had been built up long enough and I had such long-term clients that it was like, I'm not really at risk. If new people come in and they don't like how I show up, then whatever. Okay. Like if you don't like the fact that I dress casually, you're probably not going to like the style of therapy that I do anyways.
Probably. I've had a few clients like that. Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I've definitely had like older clients, so or maybe like more conservative clients, kind of initially get a read from me from our consult where they get the sense that I'm very professional, whatever that word means, and then I'll show up and I'm dressed like this, and they'll tell me like, you weren't what I expected, but I actually really appreciate it because there's been a lot of clients where like the way that I show up has challenged their own rules and ideas of how they need to show up. Like, oh, if this person who is clearly like good at her job can show up in a baseball cap and a hoodie, like maybe I don't have to show up like this in my job or at my house or whatever.
Facts. It happens to me in therapy all the time. I'll talk to people over the phone, or I'll talk to them on Zoom, and they think they get a vibe, and I'm like, just to let you know, I'm a pretty big boy. And then they'd see me like when the pandemic was like done, and they're like, damn. I was like, I told you, you come on in the office. I remember coming back from the pandemic. It was so weird, bro. Oh, you and your client just looking at each other. Like, oh.
I've seen you, but I haven't seen you.
Yeah.
What do you like?
Everyone just like, you're taller. And I'm just like, you're shorter. Some people got short people energy, bro.
They sure do.
Yeah. So it was the tattoo thing, and then I had one other question I wanted to piggyback on. It was the dress code. It was dress code, and then it was yeah. So I got my question.
Yeah.
Spence, back to you. Sorry.
Thank you. So you have this petition here, right?
Yeah.
So can you get a little bit into that and kind of where people can sign it?
Yeah, 100%. I'm so glad that you two brought this up because I didn't actually expect to talk about it here. This was something that I created just a couple of days ago, like literally 4 days ago. And it's something based on how I operate in practice, but I've tried to switch from a more individualist mindset to a more like community action oriented one. So currently in Ontario, where I practice, we have a duty to report clients that are at imminent risk of harm to self or others. And it's broad enough and vague enough that like you can use your discretion. So there are some clients who have been in imminent risk or in high risk for suicide, and I still haven't called emergency services on them because I knew that based on my conversations with them, it wouldn't have been better. But the problem with how it's currently phrased and what our legislation is that there are other therapists who are a bit more like by the book or who are more afraid of suicide and who have been like bought into the idea that it's this like really scary, horrifying, untreatable thing that they'll just call police or they'll call EMS on someone without really doing their due diligence. And so the petition is about just changing the language of our legislation to something that Washington State does, which is duty to act responsibly. And so we might still implore the use of police or hospital or whatever other like crisis line support, but the change would be that we don't have to. And then for certain folks that usually don't feel as safe in the hands of emergency services, like BIPOC folks or queer folks, we have other options available, and it might actually prompt us to look into non-carceral options, which I think is needed for everyone. So you can find it on my Instagram. I think my link tree has it as the very first link available, and it'll obviously be linked in this episode description because you guys are so nice. So thank you.
Yep, it'll be linked down low. Spence, she's right. Spot on. Correct. Real quick, Kaitlin, she, her pronouns, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Completely correct. Like, man, I got people, I see new coworkers, trainees, interns. Like, I get being kind of jittery around suicidality. But man, like, there's some veterans, and I'd be like, for real? You about to lock this kid up now?
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
Hold up. Let's talk this out. I think it's gonna be okay. It gets for real when you're talking to a black or brown person, and they might express some homicidality. They may have weapons, maybe they don't. But like when these white kids got weapons, we don't say nothing. But I mean, God forbid a brown kid has a weapon. Now we're like, we calling the police on them. It's intense.
Yeah.
Another thing is with my autistic clients. A lot of my clients, including myself, deregulate, man. And like they will call the police, or some of mine, don't know what they're saying sometimes, and they'll say shit that's out of pocket. Like, it's, class is hard, and I'll kill myself. And I'm like, so do you actually mean you're going to kill yourself? Like, no, I'm not going to actually kill myself, but I'm going to kill myself.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, bro, you can't say this to anyone else. This is only me.
Well, even when you think about, when you look at, stats in Canada are kind of like hidden around this. I really don't think that they paint a clear picture, but when you look at the number of times that police have been called for a wellness check on someone who is suicidal, and then either a Black, brown, Indigenous person or even an autistic person has been injured or shot, killed as a result of that wellness check. Like, it's just so ludicrous. I really don't have any trust for cops in terms of mental health care, and yet they're like the first line of defense when it comes to something like a wellness check. Yeah, it's just like, I just think that our clients deserve so many better options. And when something like this is in place where people are like, oh, fuck it, we'll call police and they'll just do a wellness check and it'll be fine, then I covered my ass, then I have no motivation to try and look for alternative methods. And I'm just going to let my client suffer the consequences. And I refuse to do that.
Also true. And if you are not a social worker, no shit on your counseling degree, but a lot of our social workers, we know how much this shit costs to get hospitalized. We know what place is probably going to wipe away the complete fee, or who's going to charge you $5,000 for the night stay. And so if we do hospitalize, we know where to send you. Not, and other professions do too, but psychologists really don't really care. Right? They're just going to, hey, call the police, send you. You know, me and the homies, we try to make things as best fit for them economically to make sure that they're safe, but also it doesn't financially destroy them. I don't want this to be like the Tiger King.
I didn't even think about that, because like we don't have, like, people will have to pay for their ambulance, but people don't have to pay for their hospital stays here, right? My concern is mostly like, I've had clients tell me that they've come out of psychiatric units worse, right? And that there were sometimes more harms done in those spaces, especially when you look at things like physical restraints and forced medication and things like that, that again is done at a higher proportion to people of color than it is to white people. But I didn't even think about the fact that like you can fully bankrupt someone. Oh my God.
In the States you can, it's bad. Yeah. And the next biggest thing is sometimes you're putting in these kids or autistic kids that are pretty stable, just deregulated, and you're putting them in a population that is actually legitimately like pretty bad, like persistent, mentally ill. And it's terrifying. Sometimes you're putting my clients in with a lot of severe drug addictions. And I'm like, this little 16-year-old white girl, she don't need to be in there with these folks, man. And so it really comes down to the therapist being responsible, building the bond, making sure they're really sussing out the nomenclature, the meaning, the context, and what the hell is going on. Because words can get messed up in language, especially if the person's like me. Sometimes you just say shit. It's not what you actually mean. And so after you deregulate, you regulate some things, right? You can figure it out. So I love that you brought it up, because I see that in our office all the time. I'm like, y'all got to stop. You shouldn't have sent this kid away. This is fucked up. Some people, I get it. You got to send.
Totally. But it almost seems like, there are so many folks that will do just a really snap judgment around it. Like they'll hear suicide come up and then they've already made a decision in their mind that like this person is at a really high level of risk. And I don't ever want to minimize the risk of suicide. Obviously, it's awful. I never want my client to. Oh, I was like, what am I doing? No, correct. I never, ever want my client to die by suicide. And does my status and my role in my registration mean that I am more important than their autonomy? Like, should I now have ultimate choice over them and their well-being and their healthcare because I've gone to school for it and because I pay to be registered as a psychotherapist? Like, why would that give me more autonomy over this other person than them themselves? And if a client wants to go to a hospital, fuck, 100%. Okay, no problem. We will arrange that and we can bring you there. But if someone is saying, I absolutely cannot go there, I do not feel safe there, please do not do this. I'm never going to. And I kind of feel like I'm going behind my college's back doing that. So I'm trying to get this change happen so that I can feel like better in this approach and not feel like I'm going to be criticized about it.
Facts. I know some people will come out and troll you, be like, hey man, if people are unhealthy, you got to send them. And yet there's lines. And I think a lot of people blur those lines and they do more harm. And there is some statistics to back up what you actually are saying too. I can't pull them right out. So I don't like to speak statistically but there are studies showing that it causes more harm, hospitalizing people when they don't need it. So thanks for bringing that up, Spence. I'm glad you brought attention to it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Of course. And so please go to Kaitlin's Instagram page, Kaitlin_the relatable therapist, all one word, if you want to sign up for that petition. It's already at 142 signatures. The goal is 200. And so please go sign up for that. Yes.
I got one question before we get into the scenes. So I asked you to come on the pod.
Yeah.
And then your first response was, wait a minute. What is your stance on like Palestine? And I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. I stand behind that.
No, I know you stand behind it. It's
Oh,
fine.
I didn't know you were that therapist. I didn't know.
Oh, it's her. This is her.
That's me.
I totally
That's
forgot.
me.
Yeah, bro. I loved it. And then I also hated it. I'm like, what the nerve of this white girl?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was coming from a place where like I was just getting a ton of shit for posting about it. And I was like, I'm not gonna take anything on without, I mean, one, I get way too many DMs to like entertain them all fully without being like, is this something that I care about or not? So when I got the offer, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I love movies in the sense of like unpacking and deconstructing mental health isms or whatever. But I was like, I'm not gonna put myself in the face of someone that is blatantly racist or ignorant or whatever, because like it's ultimately attached to me and my brand, and I don't want to be further associated with those things. So yeah, I felt like I just should have asked it right off the bat. And then I didn't think about the fact that it was probably a bit jarring. I was like, that's fine.
It was.
Be okay.
It was. And I was like, and I thought about it like a couple months later when I was inviting a ton of guests. And I was like, damn, man, I should be asking this shit, man. I should ask this. Because, you know, we've had some people on and I'll be like, wait a minute. Or I invited some people or I added some people and I'm like, oh no, I'm unadding you. Oh no, what did I do? So in hindsight, I actually did appreciate what you did. And you actually taught me something that I could be more selective and just be like, fuck it. Like you down or not?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was also like when I was doing a lot of research around boycotting, where I was just like, oh, I'm more so in a consumerist way, but I was like, oh, I have so many products from companies that, you know, support Israel. And like, oh my God, like it was just so, I was so ignorant to the fact that it was so woven into so many pieces of my life already and culture and products and whatever.
Wow.
So I'm like, I may as well just ask people straight out. Although I don't know if I said, how do you feel about Palestine? Didn't I say like I'm pro-Palestine, or was I very attacking with it?
I think you asked. I'm 90% sure.
Yeah, you were like, so what is your stance? You were like, before I sign up and fully agree to this, what is your stance on Palestine? And I was definitely that's when I it was good. And then I said, hey, my grandpa's from Palestine, right? We're Arab Lebanese, right? Where my country is now getting bombed, which I knew it was a matter of time. It was a matter of time before the state started bombing us. And they're talking about annihilating us even worse than the war, a few years ago. So it's about to get real dangerous for my actual people now. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I do appreciate it. It was the first person to cut into me like that. And I think it was cool. I have started to ask people that now moving forward. So
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I'm kind of bad at I'm bad at nuance a little bit. Like I'm outside of being in the therapy room where I can be very curated with my words. I find that outside of that, I'm just like, here's what I'm thinking. And so that was probably how it came through.
Yeah. It reminds me of that South Park thing. Not the what was the new one recently with the Jeopardy, or it was a real thing in Jeopardy. And it was something about butt or something like that. I don't know.
Oh wait, I have no idea.
Not the other one. You're thinking of the
I was thinking of the Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, no. There was a recent thing about, whatever. I'm moving past it. Something about butts.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's get to the show.
Let's get into the show. All right. So, Accepted, the movie. All about this guy named Bartleby.
Bartleby?
Played by Jeff.
Very fancy.
I swear to God, his name is Bartleby.
Bartleby Gaines.
Bartleby Gaines, the whitest thing you've ever heard.
No.
That's fair. Played by Justin Long. And so he gets rejected by colleges trying to get in. So he doesn't want to disappoint his parents, right? And so he makes up this college and acts like, oh yeah, I got accepted to this school, blah 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 blah. And turns out that a lot of other people have been getting rejected by colleges. And so they weren't planning on this to be an actual college, but then they see so many people sign up for it that they're like, hey, let's just do it and make up our own rules and stuff like that, and help people be a little bit more in tuned with their creatives, instead of just all about the just only education side of things. So yeah, and then so we have a few scenes from that. I just want to ask real quick, what made you want to actually do this movie, Kaitlin?
I'll be fully honest in that I watched it really recently to when you asked me. So it was at the forefront of my mind. But I think also it was like I've had these ideas around anti-capitalism for a long time and didn't quite have the language for it. But in these recent months, I've been doing a lot of work in like decolonizing therapy and deconstructing capitalism and how it shows up in mental health practice. And it just felt like, I mean, it's a weird film to choose for it, and it felt like a great film to choose for it because it's just like giving a middle finger to all of these capitalist ideals that we've been sold. And I think like comedies are just such a nice thing. Like I could have picked kind of a deeper psychological thriller, but it would have felt a bit heavier. And I think that sometimes like heavy, intense topics are nicer when they're framed in comedy. So I felt like a good blend of all that.
Yep. I could see her, Spencer, just relaxing, you know, puffing that inhaler supposedly that she's got.
Yeah, a lot of smoke coming from the, oh my
I
god.
don't smoke weed.
I really hope Dom sees this and punches you in the face.
Because of the voice. Whatever.
Yes.
I just know that there's something in it. She was watching this and she wasn't high. Okay. First person.
Okay.
First person. I'm joking.
That's the weirdo, man. I swear to God, my neighbors probably think that I'm like stoned out of my mind all the time because I'll just like play in the sprinkler out front. But I'm like, oh, this is just me and my vibe. Like I'm fully sober. I just enjoy doing weird shit.
Yep. It's just you and the autism, I guess.
Tism.
The more everyone says, I'm like, Okay. I do remember the movie though. The more scenes we watched, I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely remember a ton of this. As soon as I saw the frat house one that we'll get into at the end, I was like, oh, I remember this now. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So what's that first scene we're diving into? We're diving into the
Dean Lewis.
The Dean.
Okay.
The Dean scene in the office. Yeah. So I mean, obviously with Justin Long's character, he has to prove to his parents that the school is real and that, you know, it's actually legit. So they have this random guy just play the dean, right? Played by Lewis Black, a comedian. He's actually hilarious.
Yes.
And so he's just talking about just, you know, just pimps and hoes and just how shitty the school system is and everything like that, just to produce the money makers and the money spenders, all that fun stuff. I have a feeling you really like the anti-capitalist part of this scene. So
Yes.
What else about this scene kind of spoke to you?
I mean, he's hilarious. There's something about when people have that like deep, kind of raspy, like growly voice that just gets me. And I appreciated that he's just so insanely angry, right? Like I'm using insanely because I think when an average person sees a person like that that's just spouting off shit, you're usually like, whoa, okay. Like I'm gonna step back and like this person's a lot to handle. But I love people like that are just so intensely in your face. And then again, the fact that like they chose this person to be the dean because he was really the only person that looked old enough to like play this fake part.
Yep.
But you know, he has these like earnest parents sitting in front of him, and he's just laying out complete truth of like, this was all meant to just be like create buyers and sellers, create pimps and whores. We're literally just like feeding into this economic system. And that's all that college is made to do. And it's not that I agree wholeheartedly with that as a statement. Obviously, college has its merit, but like it is a huge part of the capitalist economy, and it is exclusive, and it costs so much for so many reasons, not for the benefit of the student, but for the benefit of the economy. And I'm like, yeah, it's bullshit. Like I've become very against education in a lot of ways since graduating, because I'm like, I paid $45,000 for my master's degree and really didn't learn much from it. I learned way more in community and wherever else. And I don't know. I love the speech. I think it's absolutely hilarious.
She spins some facts, Spence. It's, I think to myself, man, how much 40, 50, 60,000 I was in debt from undergrad. Man, I don't know, did I use a lot of it? Every once in a while I'll pull something out of my touch and I'm like, oh, there you go. That, that was worth it, that 60 grand. In that master's, I'm like, okay, so I learned a lot in that master's. I grew up in that master's, got mentored in that master's. It was a lot in there, but it wasn't the classes. It was the professors that was teaching me and whispering things to me and growing me. So, I paid for that experience. The doctorate, I'm like, bruh, I don't know what fuck I learned. Because all I did was study autism the entire time, which was all self-led research. I'm like, y'all ain't teach me shit. Like, all I did was y'all corrected my papers. So it's interesting school. I believe in education. I believe education is the only way out of any hardship. And I believe education is one of the best predictors of health and mental health. But I don't believe it should come at the cost it is. In the States, right, it's astronomically increased the cost of colleges because we've defunded it. And we're funding, I love sports, but we're funding sports stadiums. Right, where in Florida, the Jacksonville Jaguars just approved $500 million in taxpayer money to make a new stadium. But I'm like, but these schools in Jacksonville's a very poor area. What about the schools? Why are the teachers making 30 grand? And then the schools.
And I mean, I hear what I hear what you're saying, that like it is such a determinant of health in future. And then also it is so inaccessible to so many because of its cost, right? So you have the people usually with like the poorest social determinants of health that have inaccessible education and can't usually go to post-secondary. And then all these people that have graduated kind of have this uplift now because they're more likely to get a better paying job, theoretically, not always, but like it's so exclusionary, and it doesn't make sense that something that should be really positive and uplifting and have a great impact on so many people is inaccessible to the gross majority of folks.
It's intense, Spence. I tried to get a loan the other day to fix my house. This is a very privileged shit I'm getting ready to say. But I tried to get another loan, right? $45,000 to fix up my house because the AC is going out, right? I got to fix all these windows because they're just leaking. And they said, sir, we can't approve you. I said, you can't approve me? All the money I make, all the equity I got in my house is worth $340,000. I only owe $220,000. You mean to tell me you won't loan me $40,000? And they said, sir, you got too much debt to income. I said, debt? Only debt I got is my car loan, which is only $25,000, and in my house. That's it. No credit card debt. And sir, you owe $140,000 in student loans. I'm like, I don't pay any of that shit though. It's on like this payment plan. Sir, we can't give it to you. I said, ain't that a bitch? I can't even get some house improvements for a cheap ass loan. That was interesting. So why do I bring that up? This privilege thing, right? Is because it's, first world problems. I bring it up because the debt that I'm strapped with now does handcuff me. And if I actually had to pay back all this routinely, I would be paying $1,000 to $2,000 a month. And so what I was going to talk about, right, is, colleges, high schools, they strip a lot of your creativity, which he says the shit school isn't. The shit, you're going to invest in shit. Shit's going to invest in you. I'm full of shit,
Yeah.
Well, a lot of places strip it from you.
Yeah, there's a really great book by James Davies called Sedated, How Modern Capitalism Created the Mental Health Crisis or Epidemic. One of those words is wrong. But he has this whole chapter on when neoliberalism and capitalism kind of like really swung into effect, or into modern capitalism in 1980, they talked about how like debt moved, or maybe a bit earlier than that, but they talked about how debt moved from this thing where like no one would go into debt outside of their mortgage. Like people would pinch pennies, and so they wouldn't contribute to the economy. But then they sold this dream where it's like, no, debt is normal. And so then you have all these people who are 15, 16, 17, they're looking at university or college as that necessary next step for the majority of people. And they're already preparing themselves for that life of debt, right? Like a huge majority of people don't pay off their student loans until they're like retiring.
Bro.
And so you take away the opportunities, because someone can't just say, well, I really, really love dance, so I'm going to, pursue dance, because dance jobs don't pay as well, and they're not as steady, and they're not as secure as, I don't know, some other job that pays better, right? Like you take the opportunities out of people because you've bred this culture of not only do you have to go do this thing, but also you're going to be strapped into a life of debt with it. And if you don't do those things, then you're not successful.
Or you just don't make a living. So you can go on the dance, but you better be good looking, because you're gonna be on that pole dancing. So you're gonna be on the pole.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You ain't gonna be making no money doing dance. I'm gonna just be real. Ballet, you start out real young, and then by the time you're 20, it's over. So ain't no interpretive dance is you houseless. So interpret dance that shit. And so I
interpret dance. You got a part-time job. All right.
Yeah. You working at the Cracker Barrel. And the reason why I bring this up, all jokes aside, in respect to anyone that does dance,
true,
is because I have students that like are suicidal because their parents are pushing them to do a certain degree. And then I'd be like, hey man, so let's pick up this art degree because you're already suicidal, and let's add a minor onto it. That way you can come out and get a job. Let's add a little business, maybe a little history, maybe some teaching. And maybe you can teach art, or maybe we add a little psychology degree in there. You do the art minor, and then now we can do art therapy and actually have a living.
Yeah.
And so because I work at a university, so I'm trying to figure out how to merge these identities to where they don't want to die.
Exactly.
I'm not going to be like their parents and be like, you can't do any of this shit. You just need to be an engineer. I'm like, homie, you're not going to be an engineer. Like you can't add. So you're not going to be an engineer.
Lie you sell people of like, someone, and it happens to me so often as well, where someone is just like so disinterested in whatever narrative they've been sold or told that they have to follow to be successful. So whether it's like engineering and they really want to pursue art, there's this lie that's been told to people of like, well, when you're successful, you won't feel that way anymore. You'll feel happy, right? You'll feel proud of yourself. You'll feel whatever. But who doesn't want to be in engineering, goes through a fuck ton of school, develops a huge amount of debt, and then gets some engineering job, is not suddenly going to be happy because they're meeting the standards of what society has asked of them. They're going to be like, fuck, I don't like this. And I don't feel fulfilled by this. My heart doesn't feel warm from this. And then I think they're even more suicidal. They're more at risk. They're struggling even more because they're not doing something that they actually want to do. They're doing something that other people want them to do.
They're being forced.
Yeah.
Being forced. That was good. Let's pivot into the other scene, and then I got some stuff that we're gonna mess around with the role play soon. So let's pivot into the next scene.
Okay, so the next scene is the frat scene in the frat house. Doing all the
fratty things.
All the fratty things. Yep, touching the tips. So we have Jonah Hill's character. Sherman. God, these fucking names.
I know. So good.
Sherman. All right, Sherman Schrader. He is a legacy, so that means that his father or parent, whoever, was in the fraternity before, and so now he's in there, right? And so so he gets to kind of have like a free stay in a fraternity without kind of going through all the bullshit applying or whatever that you have to do for fraternities. Kind of like in Animal House, right? We've seen that also. No Animal House fans here. All right, moving on. And so And so, he's just kind of an awkward guy. He doesn't really know what's going on. He doesn't really what they call fit in for that fraternity. And so we see that, and he's immediately like an outcast for this fraternity. But then we also have it where Bartleby is talking to Monica, and then we have the douche come in and then start talking to him, and immediately goes to oh, okay, I see what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I see the privilege happening right here. All right, and I'm going to insult you and bye.
Yep.
So, what made you kind of want to do this scene, Caitlin?
Even if you were just like describe it for us, I think it's partly like
Wait a
this
minute.
dichotomy where
I
you-
think your headphones might have gave out.
Oh no.
No, she sounds
No, they're
funny.
right there. I think just because she like leaned back.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
That's why. Yeah.
Are we okay? I may have touched something.
Oh,
Are
you
we
sound
okay?
way better now. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. You're good.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, I think it's partly like the dichotomy of seeing one person like being Sherman so obviously not fit into this crowd, but you can sense like his desperation of fitting in, right? And he's like, oh, I have to, like, I have to get along with these guys. They have to like me because I'm a legacy. I have to, meet the expectations that people have of me, and I have to fit in here. And then you have Bartleby that's just like could not give a shit and sees right through it and sees all of the BS of this like frat life and whatever. And I think it's just seeing that is so interesting. You see one person like acting so genuinely and really just not giving a shit about all of this fancy elitist whatever. And then you see the other person like grasping at straws to try and fit in because he thinks that that's the only way he'll be able to have a good time in college. Like it's just so, it's funny, but it's really weird to see that side by side, because then my heart just like really calls out for Sherman. I'm like, oh yeah, like I get that. I get why you so badly want to fit in here. And I can see that you so badly don't actually fit in.
Here, I'm gonna add my little thing now. But Kaitlin, you don't understand though, but I gotta fit in because this is where I'm gonna make friends. This is the friends that I need to make a good job and to be loved. Right? Well, so what do you mean I don't need to go here? This is the place to be. This is where all the popular people are.
No, I hear you. There's a huge part of you that sees the potential for friendship and legacy and success here. And of course, that's difficult to turn away from. You need that.
So what if they make fun of me and they dislike me? It's fine. I'll deal with it. What if they harass me and abuse me? It's okay. I'll deal with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, is this you saying that you don't actually want to act in these ways and that if you are yourself, they're going to make fun of you? Or is that just where your mind's going?
Part of that. And then also, right, obviously they're making fun of me because I'm a big boy and a large boy and they're all skinny, gorgeous white boys with nice jaw lines and I look like a potato. But I just won't eat for a while and it'll be fine and I'll lose weight and I'm sure they'll beat the shit out of me and haze me and probably say things when I'm naked, but I'll get over it.
Okay. So, I mean, in what you're saying, I hear that it feels more important to sacrifice your own well-being and potentially put yourself through harm to get the approval of these people. That feels more important than you being yourself and potentially facing the rejection from them.
But isn't that the only way to make it, is to give up your entire identity to fit in?
It could be. It could be if that's what you think is important, is fitting in, if belonging is more important in this instance than authenticity, then 100%. I'm never going to shit on someone for wanting to belong.
Well, what the hell's authenticity?
Well, I mean, it's different for every person. It depends on you, right? If you're walking into that room and something doesn't feel quite right, or you don't really feel comfortable, you can look at, are you doing things or saying things that don't feel true to yourself? And I don't know if that is the case for you.
There you go. Thank you for humoring me on that.
I didn't know that it was happening. It was like, oh my God, okay, therapy. hat on.
Let me put that hat on. Let me cover up my tattoos.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, professional.
She just covers up the weirdo part.
It's like, shh, don't look at it.
You deviant. That scene to me, right, being a big boy, I'm like, bro, this scene just fat phobic as hell.
Absolutely.
This all this is, and I know he's gonna get harassed because of his size. And when he's naked and showering with the boys, they're gonna razz him. They're gonna joke with him about girls. They're probably gonna call him queer. They're gonna talk to him about, you know, all types of different things. And there's a good chance that he gets physically and trigger warning, sexually assaulted in some ways by those boys, because what we do to fat bodies is we think we can hurt them and take advantage of them because they're beneath us. They're not human. Yeah. They don't deserve love or attention or affection. They don't deserve kindness. And so with these fat bodies, they mean nothing. It's almost how we would look at brown or black bodies now, but even like before, they're inhuman. And so that's what that scene reminded me of. It was funny as hell, but it was like cringe because I'm like, oh, one of these pieces to the puzzle don't fit.
Yeah, like you know what's coming, right? And especially at this time, like, you know, in 2006, and I'd love to say that it's different now, but it's not. It's just not publicized as much. Like there was so much fat phobia, and there is so much fat phobia that it was the punchline, right? You would just have a fat actor cast, and it was like, well, that's the funny part.
Yep.
Which makes no sense.
So that's why I wanted to bring attention to it. Like I'm fine with it, but I know in reality that's a terrifying position for a lot of my bigger boys, bigger girls, bigger non-binary folks to be in. The funny part is when he talks like, yeah, I'm dating so-and-so. He's like, oh, I know her. He's like, I masturbate to her.
What? What?
Hold on. That's one of those things where your ADHD lets things slip and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I dream about sucking her toes, you know.
Oh my God.
Who said that?
That was the big brown one. Hard to miss. Hard to miss that one.
It was just a funny bit. And they were all babies back then, man. So Spence said this wasn't long ago. I'm like, shit, man, it's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
2006?
Feel like long ago, I guess. To me. To others, like, I mean, like, if you're born in like the 2000s, you're going to be like, what the fuck? I mean, I was like 6 years old.
A retro movie. Yeah, like I watched this when I was in high school, I guess. Or no, it would have been like end of elementary school for me, but like it still felt like kind of a crucial movie, but like it was just part of the nostalgia of like growing up. So I look at it like, I watched this 5 years ago, not 18 years ago.
Yes.
Like every other scene has to be like inspirational and then like have some rock music to like splice in there.
Very much, yeah. You got like the Sum 41 on like the skateboard scene, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, this is my culture.
Every time skateboards, you know, you're in the early 2000s if you have skateboards in there.
Skateboard.
What do we watch? The new kid or something? The new guy?
New guy.
Yeah. Just watched that.
We watched that while we were in the tent together, freezing.
Yeah.
Huddled together for warmth. Yeah.
I love Eddie Griffin.
Then we watched Big Daddy, and that was just fucking hilarious.
Always.
You give him all the easy one.
You'll give him all the easy ones.
All right. Let's pivot over to the last two scenes. So the next one is
the orientation scene.
Yeah.
Correct? Or is it the
orientation?
Yeah, orientation.
Orientation scene. So this is right when they find out like all these people signed up for this fake college because they had no intention on actually signing people up for that. And so they saw tons of people actually rally in. And then he takes a little poll of seeing how many people actually applied to college, how many actually got into those colleges. Put your hand down. There you go. And then we also have a brief cameo from the great Penguin from Gotham.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when he looked like Malfoy from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Very much. But like the electrocuted Malfoy. But
yeah. And a little bit taller too. So, you know.
The Goku.
Stretched out. The Goku.
Yeah. No. He looked like Homeboy from Home Alone when he got shocked. He was electrocuted with the afro and shit. No.
Yeah.
That's a great scene. Laugh at it every time. But yeah, so I'm assuming here we want to talk about kind of like what it means to build a community of people that are, you know, different or seen as different. And maybe we want to actually bring all these different people together instead of just separating them and say, hey, you're not good enough. You can't do certain things because you don't fit the mold.
You suck and you're cross-eyed.
Well, where am I? Where am I?
You're what we call a loser.
Oh, there you go. That was blunt.
I mean, that's what they were calling all these kids, right?
I know. Yeah. I'm agreeing. I'm just saying I thought you were gonna go something a little bit more like out there, but no, you were just like, you're a loser.
Yeah.
Just
Velvet Thunder.
hold this L.
Yeah. So you picked this scene because you like him trying to foster that community, kind of like this group leader. Because it's got a little culty vibe. I ain't gonna lie. Shit University. It's a little culty. It's a white guy. It's a Trump
fair,
University
yeah.
kind of vibe. Right? It's not
Drink the
real, but it's
Kool-Aid.
real. Drink the Kool-Aid.
I think I like that. Like there was the turnaround in it, right? He starts and he's like, okay, well, fuck, like we don't have a college here. We like there's nothing real of substance here. Everything in me, everything right, and all the rules tell me that like I need to shut this down. I need to tell all these people to leave because I can't take their money. Like we don't have anything here. So he's feeling that, but then he comes up and this guy stands up and he's like, it's the first time my parents ever said they were proud of me, and everyone's like, right, just like just killed me. But then you see everyone like nodding along, and you're like, yeah, this is the only place that I was accepted. You see him switch from this like rule-based mindset of, okay, well, I got to do the right thing here and tell all these people to leave, to holy shit, I see hundreds of people in front of me that are all just looking for a place to land and to belong. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. Like it just seemed like it called to him. And then he went with it anyways, despite consequences, despite whatever else. And I think about it from a therapy perspective, like it's a valued action, right? You're at this choice point where there's a situation, you can do the thing that is potentially less risky and less uncomfortable and follows the rules. And that's great to do. And sometimes taking that relieving action is better. Or you can do the thing that's actually fulfilling and meaningful. And that was what he chose to do here. And you just see everyone be like, oh my God, yeah, okay, we're in this space where I belong now.
They belong and they believe in themselves.
Yeah.
They believe in the community. They believe that they have a shot. They believe that maybe I'm not a loser, that maybe I am more. Maybe I can learn. Maybe I am pretty. Maybe it's okay to be queer. Maybe I don't have to be this skinny, chiseled jaw, blonde hair, blue-eyed white boy. Maybe, maybe I got a shot to do something creative and maybe monetize it. Maybe I can be happy and have friends. Maybe I can be autistic and fall in love. So it's this community, right? That was a very good moment. He's like, hey man, my parents are proud of me. I was like, damn, man. I mean, my dad told me that the other day, and I was like, bruh, go away, go away, hurry up, go away. And then my dad's pretty disabled, so he can't walk that fast. So he has to slowly turn.
Why didn't you just walk away, jackass?
I was laying in my bed. He cornered me. He's just like, I want to let you know, boy, that, I was reading your Instagram comments and I saw a lot of people.
How you make him sound like he's 6'7".
Yeah, you see, I got taller.
Yeah. I just want like he's Sling Blade.
But he always gets super slow and raspy with his voice. And he's like, I was reading the comments and a lot of people got a healing and learned from our hyperphantasia episode. And so a lot of people were learning what the hell that is. They're like, oh my God, I have words to this now. Like this is, and I'm like, our entire show is about hyperphantasia. Little did I know. So she taught me a lot of stuff, and now people are just commenting in it. It's been the most wonderful comments in that episode. It wasn't our most famous episode, but it was definitely one of the more impactful ones that we've had. It is doing very well. And that was magical for you, my father, to be like, look, and it's all free. You're not charging. It's not monetized, right? I mean, the people are just learning. And I was like, That's the reason why me and Spence were doing this shit.
Yeah.
So that was a cool moment. And so for that young boy to have that, and then him to get juiced up and be like, hey man, fuck yeah, let's do this. Let's fucking go.
I mean, well, thinking about like, one, how many 17-year-olds are in their orientation week at university or college because they're afraid to disappoint their parents.
Yep.
Right? Like how many people are really there, not because of any like other external thing, but truly just because the person that has cared for them or sacrificed for them or whatever wants a better life for them. Right? When I work with like my immigrant clients, like, oh my God, that comes through with almost every single one of them, where they may or may not have wanted to go to school, but it was like, I have to. Like my parents have sacrificed so much for me. And even like in the scene, they pan to the people that would probably previously have been called like crazy, right? This guy with like his absolute wild hair, the other one that's just kind of like standing around and like touching the wall and shit. Like
the guy with the army backpack. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Like those are the people that would have been rejected and kind of deemed like unfit in every sense of the word. And then, I mean, if casting were more realistic and if the entertainment industry weren't like so whitewashed, you would probably see a lot of like Black people there, a lot of autistic folks there, a lot of any type of marginalized person there, because they're less likely to be accepted than their white, rich counterparts.
And so when you look at that in the States, those are your community colleges. Your community colleges are the real representation of like what America looks like. And you're going to get your non-traditional students. You're going to get military members, older folks, single moms going back to school. I love community college. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. Then I went to the big boy school and I'm like, damn, the light's bright as hell in here. Oh, you ain't not want to drop melanin in this motherfucker right now. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. That's interesting. So I look at it as, these people find a home that probably didn't have a home, like a place to be. Yeah. By home, I mean like a central location of friends. And then they find these friends. Me and Spence talk community all the time. If you're autistic, you tend to, coagulate with a bunch of other autistic folks. You tend to meander towards them. Right? If you're queer, a lot of your friends are going to be queer. If you're Black or brown, a lot of your friends are going to be Black and brown. And so the world is very segregated these days. In America right now, schools are actually just as segregated as they were before integration, which is fucking terrifying. So you get this type of school and I'm like, this is awesome. These people welcoming you in. And I got a quick story and we're going to pivot to the last scene. This orientation stuff means a lot to me because a lot of my students are doing it because they need the money and they're hustling, right? These are the kids that are doing orientation. Reminds me of all my babies and that are out there doing it. And I remember one of them, the sweetest autistic white girl, sweetest pie. I love her to death. Just graduated. And she said she was an orientation co-leader because there's always two people. And she said that the boy was saying horrific sexist and racist things in the orientation and then kind of hurting some of the other people's feelings. And she's pretty anxious and scared. I said, girl, what do you want to do? Because I can teach you how to get his ass kicked off right now. And she was like, well, I don't know if I'm ready. She did another day with him. She said, let's do it. I said, okay, let's go. His ass was fired the next day. And she did it. And she stepped up to the plate. And she had to talk with all these supervisors. And she did it. Yeah. And now his ass won't be able to do it anywhere else. And now she starts building up confidence. Now she starts defending other people and herself. And I'm like, look at you. Because also there was a toxic relationship that she was in, first relationship, right? It's new. You don't know. No one knows what a relationship's going to be. And then you're autistic on top of that. You think that this is fine when someone kind of abuses you. And so the fact that we got her all the way to this point where now she's protecting others and herself, I was like, let's go. Yeah. It was a great moment. And so this reminded me of that, of her
absolutely
taking care of all these other people. And this is what we do when we raise good humans in college and why we want them to be educated and know what all these intersections are, is we're teaching them empathy. You said you're a big feeler, right? A big mirroring neuron, big empathy.
Yeah.
Some of that is mostly biological, but a good part of it can be taught too, though. You can't teach people to be good people. And you also need to hold little pieces of shit like this one boy accountable. And so that scene kind of reminded me of her and a good moment that me and her had. So I figured I'd share that story.
Yeah, and I think like, it's interesting because in both like with your client and then even in this scene, like they're all strangers at this point, right? For her, she kind of gets to know some of the freshman people, I guess, over those couple of days, but like you don't know each other yet, and then something is able to unify you. And I don't know what it would have been for your client, but in this, like the fact that they were all rejected and outcast and whatever is this like unifying force. And when I think about how isolated a lot of people are, and then I look at the biology of like what happens when you're around community, like what happens when you're around other people. I mean, not immediately feel safe, because there's a lot of people obviously that have kind of the opposite experience in crowds or with strangers. But when there is that unifying piece, it's like, oh, okay, I have that greater confidence. I have that sense of like calm or settledness. I have that sense of connection. Exactly. And we can't get that on our own, or we can't get that in the same way on our own. And so much of like school shit is just uber competitive, right? Like all these kids ended up in this situation because they didn't have good enough grades, or I don't know, enough money, or whatever else it was. Like there's competition that makes it me versus you. And then this school is just the aftermath of that, of like, well, all of us lost against those other people. All of us lost against those other people. We're all here. And so we now all have this common experience that we can actually feel safe with each other around.
I know a lot of people with degrees on me ain't doing a damn thing with it. A lot of people with degrees ain't doing a damn thing with it. So you need to foster your skills. I love education, get it if you can, but also, foster your skills. So if you're good at reading, if you're good at creative design, if you are good at dance, if you're good at washing cars, become good at washing that car. If you love cutting grass, let's go cut some fucking grass. I love cutting grass. If you like doing manual things, let's do it. If you want to be an electrician, let's do it. They get paid. Be good at whatever it is that you're passionate about, and then the education goes on top of that. All right. Let's do this last scene, because this is a long, intense scene, and I know she got some shit to talk about in this scene.
Yes. So last scene, I believe there's like a committee to like get rid of the quote unquote fake college or whatever, and then and it's pretty much all due to the Ivy League classy college, and they're complaining about it because I don't know why, because they're different and they're starting something
No,
new.
because they wanted to buy the property.
Oh,
like,
there you go.
You want to talk about capitalism? They wanted to buy the property to have like a fancier entryway.
Look at it.
We would like to build a McDonald's here.
Yeah, white people love taking land, don't they?
Yeah, they sure do.
There you go.
Sure do.
They sure do. What voice was that?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's just like in Revenge of the Nerds. I'm just throwing out all these old movies about college.
So old.
Great. They're so old. You want to talk about 2006? These are the 80s. All right. Anyways, and then of course we have Justin Long's character, and he's saying, hey, it's like, you didn't want us to begin with, so it's like, what's the problem here? Why can't we just coexist instead of just one of the other getting rid of? Why are we doing this? So very strong, very passionate scene, and of course ends, should have ended with, don't you forget about me. Don't. We are the Breakfast Club. And so where's some of your thoughts on this scene, both of you, and kind of like how does this tie into today? What does this mean for us?
Naz, I'll let you go first, because I feel like I'm just talking a lot in every reply that I
No,
share.
you're the guest. You're supposed to talk.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking over a person of color, so I don't know about that one. I'm joking.
I mean, yeah.
I'm joking.
Well,
I can't get canceled, guys.
I know, we're trying to
don't
cancel
tread
you.
on me. All right.
Oh my God. You might not know what that is. That's an American.
I do not.
It's American colloquium for a lot of the far right nuts. So don't tread on me. They usually means they've got a gun and they're going to kill you. So
Yeah. Get out of my way.
yeah,
Wow,
it's
I hate that. Okay.
America's a different place.
Yeah, no, I can't ever go there.
You,
I loved.
Diabetes. Sorry.
I think this scene was, again, it's just like, it's amazing for so many reasons. It was like perfect crescendo to the film. He gets so intense and passionate. He's so well spoken in it. But I think about, what happened like shortly before the scene is they brought in this like huge whiteboard of their curriculum, right? They were basically asked questions about like, well, what makes you a legitimate school? And do you have these things that, prove that you, I don't know, that you're a suitable place for education? And it's stuff like, wood shop or woodworking, or like, how to bake a cake, and like skateboarding 101. And so many people would look at that and be like, well, it's not an education. But then I think about skateboarding as an example. Like, skateboarding is hard as fuck. You learn so many skills in it. You learn so much discipline in it. Why is that any less learning than learning calculus?
Yeah.
Right. And so, when he has this whole big speech where he's saying, like, you've already decided that you are rejecting us. You've already decided that this isn't worth it, that this doesn't meet your standards. He's not crumbling to it and saying, oh, okay, well, this doesn't meet the expectations of modern society, so I'm just going to like wither and shrink and shut down because there's no point. He's saying, no, I fully fucking believe in this, and all of us believe in this, and all of us saw the beauty and the amazingness and the knowledge and growth in this, so we can take that for what it is, and we don't have to prescribe to your standards and your ideals just because you want us to. Which again is just like, it's just a big fuck you to rules. And I hate rules in the sense that like it creates a mold for people that the majority of people do not fit within. I don't think that anyone fits perfectly into any mold given to us, but some people might just feel like they stick out a touch and it's okay and they don't feel as comfortable. But other people are like, whoa, I can't even fit an arm in there. That just doesn't make sense for me. But then they try and kill themselves, like going through their life to be that mold. And then they end up feeling extremely depressed and hopeless and disconnected with life and apathetic. And they're like, wow, what's wrong? I'm 50 years old and I don't want to live anymore. Why would this happen? I'm like, well, have you done anything that you've actually wanted to do in your life? Or have you done everything that everyone else has told you?
Yep. What's this word you said earlier? What do you call it? Anti-colonialism, or what was that word you used? Or decolonization of therapy? What's this decolonization of therapy? What the hell did that mean? What did it?
So, I mean, I don't know if the concept was birthed by her, but Dr. Jennifer Mullen is an amazing therapist who has kind of like centered her whole brand and practice around decolonizing therapy. A lot of it comes down to really understanding how colonization, and as a result, colonization, capitalism, and white supremacist patriarchy has found its way and woven its way into mental health care. So recognizing how those kind of principles and how the beliefs around colonialism currently exist, how to actually acknowledge the harms done onto people because of colonization, not just in the context of mental health care, but at large. And then actively seeking out ways to deconstruct those same beliefs around colonialism and capitalism from modern day mental health care and make it more centered around Indigenous methods of healing, more like truly client-centered and autonomy focused, rather than, well, I'm the expert and I went to school for it, and so this is how therapy should be, and this is what it looks like, and here are the rules of proceeding with this service. It's like, no, let's actually strip all that back and just get back to being connected and being humans and being true to ourselves. And not to kind of pull it all the way back, but like that was in part why I created that petition. Is we have, a colonial hierarchy of, well, I'm the expert here. I am the educated one. I'm the one that is of kind of a higher class than my client because of all of these things that somehow give me more rights than them. So I get to decide if I call the police on them. I get to decide if I call an ambulance on them, whatever. And it's a very colonial concept. And again, this movie does a great job of not necessarily decolonization, but showing that like there's been all of these things built up because of the current social, economic, and political system that's only been around for the last like 45 years. Like this hasn't been the way of things for ever and ever and ever. Colonization obviously hasn't for a long time, but like modern day capitalism and the way that it's structured healthcare, the way that it's structured the educational system has been since like 1980. And that's when everything became massively privatized. And that's when everything became so structured around go to school, get a job, do this, because then you're more palatable and easier and more economically productive. And that's what we want. We don't want you to be your actual unique self. We want you to be productive in society and in the economy.
A cog, yep. The reason why I asked that is because a lot of folks are talking about this decolonizing therapy, right? And love it, love what it stands for, love what it is. I don't know if that's a real thing that's like gonna happen. I hope it does, because there's so many legit white dudes that are supervisors of all of it. And then also it's it's so saturated with white women, and whether they're well-to-do, well-meaning white women, they still uphold a lot of different things. And so when they see someone come in there with some swag, some colloquiums, a different dress, wearing sneakers, right? They don't know how to take it. A lot of the professors aren't of color, and a lot of them, if they are, they ain't really coming from like poverty. And a lot of them don't have a lot of this masculinity. And so all we see is a lot of femininity, which is fine. It doesn't matter what gender. And so we never get to see boys like me up there. And so boys like me don't get a healing because we never see ourselves represented. All we see is these white women, well-to-do, feminine folks, right? And then we're like, so that's not us. So this therapy isn't for us. And so
absolutely,
I see a hard change to get to that place. But I know it's happening with a lot of people that are in private practice like you. So a lot of the folks that we've interviewed private practice, and you see where they're centering around this very person-centered. I'm like, that's the shit. But the way we teach it, the way the training is, the way it is in higher ed, it is not like that. And so that's why I wanted to bring it up, because, right, this is all about college. And college is is this where the highway? And if not, we're going to read you the riot act in America and we're going to kick your ass out.
Yeah, absolutely. Or like fail you, right? If you do anything that opposes the status quo, it's like, well, I didn't get it, so I'm going to fail you.
Correct. And so I love that you brought that up. This idea, and if I post this, people are going to shit on me, but this idea around whiteness and professionalism is like horrific. And it allows people like me it doesn't allow people like me to actually speak my mind in therapy or to talk to colleagues, because if I do, then they shit on me. Because like, oh, you're crazy, or oh, you shouldn't handle yourself like that. Nas, only you could say things like that. Oh, it's okay if you say it, Nas, because like you're the funny brown guy. I'm like, bruh, the other day I pretty much got told I need to smile more in my office because I need to be more personable. And I told my supervisor, I'm like, I ain't got no time for you. Like, I'm here for the students. All of you could die today. I would not give two fucks. And she was like, wow, well, that's pretty messed up. And I was like, you mean nothing to my life. You pay me to do a job. I do my job. I shut my door. I don't want to talk to you. That's fine. But I guess it's not fine.
It's behavior that's only called out because of your skin color. Like,
correct.
You see a white person doing any particular thing. Like I got called out on one of my reels recently where I posted, I don't know, some random stupid outfit that I wear with my hat and my sneakers and whatever. And this other creator, I think her name is Sex Ed with Danielle. She's a Black creator and a really immense activist in Ottawa, which is another city in Ontario.
Okay.
She was like, it must be nice to have the privilege to wear that. And I really appreciate it. I got called on the fact like, yeah, sure, I did face some shit in trying to dress the way that I used to dress, but like I can get away with it because I'm white. And I know that if a Black therapist showed up in, hat, sneakers, whatever, a lot of clients would be like, oh, she's not dressed.
What's wrong? Yeah.
Exactly. And my clients, I'm sure, have that idea too, but like they don't see my actual value, my inherent professionalism as any less, but they would if it was a Black person or brown person or whomever else.
Treated different. Spence, dude, there's this creator that I follow. She's a professor. And I've commented on her post before. She's a sex teacher, sex therapy teacher, something like that. The content's good, but the way she does it and produces it, the things that she does in class, the way that she kind of makes it a little bit more sexual in her post, love it. But I'm like, ain't no woman of color doing the shit that you doing, because they will be kicked out of that university so fast, girl. And then one of the things that she told me is something that was going on with like sex and college students. And I said, I'm gonna be real with you. This ain't happening to women of color. She's like, well, the study says it's across all races. I was like, let me see that study. Because I guarantee you,
it was 98% white people and then 2%.
She said it was based on a college demographics. I'm like, college in America at your institution is 95% white. So all respect to this one therapist. I'm sure some people are going to know who the person is, don't know their name. Their content is good, but also extremely privileged. I mean, roll with it, do what you can do. But I'm like, bro, Spence, if I show you this shit, you'd be like, there's no way.
Yeah, no. Yeah, even though Black people have been sexualized since the beginning of time.
Since day one. But God forbid you wear any tight fitting clothing.
Oh, well, it's just
that's too much ass, girl. Put that ass away, girl.
You ain't hiding it in anything else. Don't matter.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like a lot about like the decolonizing therapy movement, if you want to call it that, is like because the market of therapists is so saturated with like white cisgender women.
Yep.
I think there are, and I'm probably guilty of this, and I just try and take like any feedback and be like, holy shit, okay, nose to the ground, let me fix that. But I think there's so many white women that are also just like, they're saying it's decolonial therapy without actually deconstructing to lower class folks, and they don't. And so it's really like, it's, Black, brown, and Indigenous creators and therapists in particular that are actually leading the movement, and the only ones that I'm personally willing to take advice from. Because if I see another white woman, like, and I don't know, this is maybe weird because I post shit about it, but I'm like, I'm not going to take advice from you. I'm going to take advice from like the Black therapists that I follow, because I appreciate their opinion about this more. You've never experienced racism. I've never experienced racism. I can't really say shit about it.
Cite it. If you do talk about it, I need you to cite your sources.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm glad that we talked about it, because we're getting ready to do it at work, and I'm getting ready to kind of go off at work on some of my supervisors, and because I cannot wait until they bring this up. And I'm about to be like, this is some straight up bullshit at this university. It's about to be fun. Okay. So fantastic movie, hilarious movie. Definitely think people should check it out. I think this is definitely a different spin to put on it, but it definitely fits in well with capitalism and this perfection, this cookie cutter. We force people to be things and we strip everything, their humanity, from them. So it was magnificent. I'm glad we have some fun too, talking about shit university. Bro, when he said really,
I would feel proud if like that was on my resume and be like, yeah, I stand behind it.
Hey, well, I got some shit to say, but I ain't gonna say it.
Yeah.
I'm full of shit, boy. I'm in the shit town.
All right. Anyways,
I had chili today,
all right. So, Kaitlin, please give out some plugs. So whatever. Yeah.
My Instagram is Kaitlin_the_relatable therapist. That's where you'll find me doing most of my shit. I do have like a business specific Instagram that's at Baldwin Psychotherapy. So that's where you'll see, I guess, a little less of like my insane ramblings as an individual, but more so about like broader topics and also service offerings. If you do want to connect with any other therapists on my team, I have a team of 3 right now. It'll be increased to 4 in September.
Awesome.
They're all really lovely. We're very, very committed to, again, kind of deconstructing the racism and colonialism that's very, very present in healthcare. outside of that, you can also, I mean, Instagram is the place where I'm going to post like most
Content.
new projects. Yeah, something that I'm going to be posting about soon is I've created these like fun, I don't know, goofy, snarky little t-shirts and things where the profits are going to go to free therapy resources for people in our community. So for those that can't afford it, the profits from this particular merch will go to free therapy for some folks. And then I do have a podcast, but I haven't posted on it for a long time. So it's called The Fight with Our Feelings on wherever you find podcasts. So you can, by all means, check that out.
There we go.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kaitlin, for being on and talking about accepting.
Yeah, thank you both so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right.
Full of
awesome.
shit.
Well, okay. With that, I'm Spencer. That's Nas, Different Spectrum Podcast.
All right, everyone. Much love, and remember, take care of yourselves.
Or don't.
That's completely up to you. Peace.